The following is a presentation of the Tragically Hip podcast series.
Okay, we are officially into uncharted waters. We never do third ones. So let's see what happens.
Your Hipstories, reflections from the final tour.
Hey, it's JD here, and welcome to Your Hipstories, reflections from the final tour. Today, it is August 16th, 2026, which means we are going to step backward in time to August 16th, 2016, the day the Hip arrived in the Hammer, Hamilton, for their big show. We have got 3 people on the panel tonight who were in the building. That's pretty fucking cool. They're going to share their experiences, their stories, and their memories. And we've got Gino from Buffalo as one of our panelists tonight. Gino, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing very well, thanks. Doing very, very well. Glad to be here.
Excellent.
First time for me.
First time on a podcast.
Yes, sir.
Oh, excellent. Well, welcome.
This is how meaningful
here.
it is to me. This is how meaningful it is to me.
I can't wait to hear. We've got John from Mississauga. How are you doing, John?
Pretty good. This is my first time on any kind of a podcast as well.
All right.
So far, so good, guys.
Just want to say 2 things really quick is that, we all think of the Hip as being our Canadian band, and it's really nice to see 2 guys from Buffalo who are also huge fans and on this podcast. And the second thing was I didn't actually go to the show. I had tickets, and I hope that my story of not being able to go will unfold over these next hour or so, and you'll get a different perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe
I have a story to tell that will be appreciated.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. I wish you would have told me that before, because now I'm going to start again because that's just,
okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's like we were negotiating on the podcast, and
okay, I'll drop off then.
No. What I'm saying is I'm going to start again from the top, and we're going to say our hellos.
Okay.
But that way you don't have to explain that to me this time.
Okay.
You don't have to explain that.
Okay.
You're going to
Just
surprise
hello.
us.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Hey, it's JD here, and welcome. No, I don't have to do that again. Hey, John. Nope.
Yeah.
Sorry. One more time. We've got John from. Sorry. One more time. Hey, we've got John. Nope. One more time. John from Mississauga is here as well. John, how are you doing on this hiptastic day?
I'm doing really good. It's very windy and rainy here, but my first time on any kind of podcast, so I'm looking forward to telling my story over the next while.
I love it. I'm glad you're here. And we have Matt from Buffalo. Buffalo Matt. Matt, how are you doing this evening? Matt?
Matt's gone. Oh, we lost him.
Okay, well, he'll come back. Unless he didn't go either.
But I was there. I promise you, JD, I was there.
So, yeah.
Well, obviously, I'm going to edit all this out.
Yeah.
So we're in a good spot, guys. We're okay. But I do expect him to pop back.
Yeah. See why he wouldn't.
Because that was, I don't know. I hope I didn't offend you either, John. Like, I hope that didn't come across as like.
I thought I had mentioned that in some previous emails that I have a story about why I wasn't there. And it's,
okay.
There's a whole thing to come out of that.
You are talking to somebody who has the worst memory in the world, and it's not even my
Okay.
fault. I was given electroconvulsive therapy, and
Oh, I
they did it
see.
wrong. And they did it wrong.
Ah,
So yeah,
okay.
I don't make new memories very well.
Okay.
Okay, I think Buffalo Matt is out ski.
That's too bad.
Yeah, we'll give him just a couple more minutes. Sorry for my first timers here. Ah, there he is. And we can see him now.
Hey,
There we are.
Yay!
pretty cool. Okay.
That's
excellent.
why. It's because of the background. That's why we couldn't see you earlier.
Yeah, that's weird. I had lost my internet connection completely, and then internet got back on and got back in, and looks like we made it.
All right, looks like
That
we
is-
made it.
That is a photo from that show. So
Oh, that's fucking cool. Well, tell us in the introduction here. I'm going to throw to you again. And we have Matt from Buffalo, or Buffalo Matt, as he's better known. How are you doing today, Matt?
doing very well. Looking forward to discussing something that happened 10 years ago, which is kind of hard to remember, but was able to take some old photos, jog my memory, and the one right behind me in the background was from that show, second row of section 120.
Oh,
Looking on
wow.
the stage.
I remember that big flag. That was great. I was seeing it from the back, though, so it said something else.
Big love listening to the pod, especially when it's on the Hip channel on Sirius XM. So
Yeah.
thrilled
that's
to
pretty
be
far
on.
out. Well, I'm glad to have you here, Matt. Let's get right to it, fellas. Let's start at the start. What is a song that you hear today, 10 years later, that when you hear it, it takes you back to that night in August? Gino, we'll start with you.
Oh, geez. Poets. It was the last song of the set of before the encore, before their first encore.
Right.
And Gord told the story about them playing their first gig in Hamilton to zero people.
Yes.
And they had to play because halfway through their gig, Paul went to the owner of the club and asked for payment, and the guy told him, "You're not getting paid until you finish. You are going to finish. You're going to sing every song, and then you get paid." So they stayed there for another hour and played to no. And Gord told the story in retrospect. It's saying, I don't remember the words entirely, but there's actually my friend that I was with at the show. He recorded it, and he says, something to the effect like, "Look at us, look at where we are now. Us collectively, Hamilton and the Hip." It was that's why that song brings me back to that show. Always.
Oh, wow.
Great. That's a great memory that I almost forgot. And he mentioned it twice during the show, if I recall.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Buffalo Matt, how about you? What is a song you hear today that takes you back?
Every time I'm going to say Scared. So if you're when he was playing Scared and when he hit the line of "It's been a pleasure doing business with you" to everybody, I don't think there were goosebumps or no dry eyes in the house. I was recording it on a camera video, and at the moment he said that, there's a sort of a jump in the video because my buddy behind me, his knees just gave out and he sort of fell into me because he was just totally overwhelmed, like many of us were at that moment.
Yeah, that lyric hits in such a different way on that tour. There's been several people so far on the program who have mentioned that "Scared" was one of those songs that almost haunted them, you know?
Without a doubt.
Yeah. John, what's a song that reminds you of August 16th?
It's got to be "Courage." I think the courage that it took Gord to even think about doing this when a guy gets diagnosed like he did, and to start to try and do something across the country, traveling, like even just to do a residency somewhere would have been hard enough. But to say I'm going to go across the country, I mean, that takes courage. And so every time I hear that song, "Courage," that's what makes me think of that night. That was 10 years ago.
Wow. Yeah, "Courage." That's lovely. That's really great. And will and determination as well, I suppose.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. John, we'll start with you for the next question because you've got an interesting tale to tell. And the question that I have for you is, where were you when you heard the news about the tour, and what was your journey to getting tickets like?
Well, I was actually volunteering at my local hospital at the time. And I had gone home and I had heard on the radio that, that they were going to be starting this tour. And besides, I was working at the same time, but nevertheless, I heard like they're going to be doing this tour. And I thought it would be a residency somewhere, like they'll pick Toronto or Vancouver or Montreal or whatever, and they'll do some shows and everyone will travel to them because there's no way that he can travel, And no, that's not what's going to happen. This guy's going to go across the country with the band, And so I couldn't believe that he was going to be able to do that. And then getting the tickets, that was, everyone knows, the hot ticket item. And so we were trying to get tickets for anywhere that we could, my kids and my daughter-in-law and I. And eventually my son was able to secure 4 tickets for us. So, that was like one of the best days of your life, knowing that you're going to go and see the Hip play, a final show.
Yeah. And so close to the end as well. The 16th of August. It was just 4 days later.
Yeah.
That 5 days
was the
later
last show. Yeah.
Was the last show. Yeah. Matt, how about you?
The ticket procurement process?
Well, take us through when you first heard the news about Gord's ailment and about the tour. What did that look like for you?
Well, the ailment, I remember waking up one morning and looking at my phone and seeing the news come through, and it was devastating. Didn't want to get out of bed seeing that. It was really an emotional moment, and just hoping and praying that he'd find a way to persevere and get through things. And obviously he did to a point. And when the tour was announced, myself and my friends knew that we had to find a way to make it happen. And there's a small group of us that see all the Hip shows or saw all the Hip shows together in Buffalo, and now Strictly Hip with your friend Jeremy, who I've heard on this in the past. So we go to all his shows when we can, and we decided to divide and conquer on the pre-sale, and we each selectively picked shows within a reasonable distance, and one guy was assigned the task of the London show. Somebody else had one of the Toronto shows, somebody else had one of the other Toronto shows, and I picked Hamilton. And the plan was, everybody go all in, and whoever gets into any one of them, buy all 4. And I was lucky enough to be the only one to get into the queue and get a ticket. And on the pre-sale, within about 10 minutes into it, I got 4 tickets for the Hamilton show. So it was a stroke of complete luck, and we were thrilled for it. Oh.
I think your audio is down, JD.
Yeah, we lost your audio, JD.
John, I had a question for you going backwards just quickly.
Yep.
And I want to ask Buffalo Matt as well, but I'll ask you first because I didn't really ask you. Who did you go with? And what was the choosing? What was the thought process behind that?
Well, similarly, we had my kids each trying to get tickets for the shows, and my one son got for the Buffalo, for the Hamilton show. But my story about going is the story that I wanted to tell, which was I didn't go to the show. As it turns out, we had 4 tickets, and my sons and my daughter-in-law and I went to all the hip shows we could in Guelph and Kitchener and Toronto and anywhere we could go. We saw them at the Phoenix in Toronto. And so we had 4 tickets. We're going. It was our thing. It's what we did. And so I'm working downtown Toronto on the Toronto Stock Exchange. And I'm down there on the Wednesday doing some work, and we have a vendor in to fix something. And he's doing a very routine job. And I'm telling him, like, I got to get out of here by 3 o'clock because I'm going to see the Hip in Hamilton. So about 2:30, he crashes the system. And I know by what's happening, without going into too much technical detail, it's going to take about 8 hours to get this thing back up again. And I'm on the Toronto Stock Exchange floor where you have to have retina scans and palm prints, and I can't leave this guy. And if he doesn't fix it, the company is going to be screwed. I have a choice to make. I give up my ticket, or I leave the thing. We both have to leave. My company loses thousands of dollars an hour because we supply data to the stock exchange. This is a big deal. And so what do I do? Do I leave my post? I'll get fired, possibly get sued for whatever. And so, or do I go to the show? And I stood there for a minute and I thought about, what would Gord do? What's the Canadian thing to do? What would Gord write a song about a guy that was going to, for sure, knowingly, going to miss the very last show he'd ever see from his favorite band, and that the front man for that band was going to die soon. And I thought about the song 38 Years Old, which is actually my license plate on my car. And in that song, as we all know, Father said he'd tell him if he saw anything. And the father, turned in the son. He turned in Mike in that song. And the father did the right thing, like the civic duty. What's the right thing to do? And I thought the right thing is to stay at my post. So I called my sons, said, I can't go to the show. I got to stay here because there's lots of people counting on me. And they gave my ticket away. And that's why I felt I wanted to be on this podcast, because I have a different story to tell about what happened on that day. And so, for me, that's kind of my story. So who did I go with? I didn't go with anybody. Right. My kids went, and they fulfilled that dream of us, which is our thing, to go to the shows. But I didn't get to do that. And so every year on the 16th of August, it's like one of the saddest days of the year, besides the days that my parents passed away. I'm not trying to bring a downer, but I mean, it's a different perspective of the group and the Hip and Gord and the songs teaching me, what's the right thing to do? What's the Canadian thing to do? What's the right thing to do? What would Gord write in a song, sort of thing? And it made me choose, like, stay at your post, stay there and fight, kind of thing. Don't run away. That's it.
Wow, gee whiz, that's shitty as shit. I can't even believe it.
Well, again, I felt I had a story to tell that is a different perspective from everybody that got to go. But I'd like to answer a lot of your other questions as we go through as well.
Sure, absolutely, we'll do that. Gino, we're gonna head back down to Buffalo, and what did you think? Where were you when you heard the news? And was it an automatic, I'm fucking going?
Obviously, yes. That's always the case when it came to the Hip. And if it was within a 500-mile radius, you weren't stopping me. But we didn't get tickets when when the tickets were released. And maybe you could help me, Matt. How quickly did that show sell out? I mean, it
immediately. It was.
Yeah, I was going to say within 15 minutes, I think it was gone. And there was 4 of us 4 of us trying at the same time to get in, to try to get in tickets. And then one of our friends, Greg, he was, it was a few hours after the fact, and he was fiddling around. I'm not sure where he was at, but he saw the availability of VIP tickets. And so he texted me and he goes, Gino, I think we can get some really, really good seats, but they're probably going to be really, really expensive. I said, I don't care. And so that's they released some VIP tickets, I guess, and that's how we were able to get it. There was 4 of us. Greg and I sat. I think we were in the 3rd row on the floor, 3rd row from the stage, and then the other 2 seats were somewhere mid-level, middle of the road seats. But I just thought that we couldn't have been any luckier. We didn't try for any of the other shows. We just figured because Hamilton was the closest, and we didn't think we were going to get a chance anywhere else, to be honest with you. And we were just very, very. I just feel very, very fortunate that I was able to attend.
What did the VIP entail? Like, was there other perks that came with it other than?
I think it was just the location of the seat.
Gotcha.
I think that's what it was. The location. I mean, we were 3rd row floor, right in the center.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
That's amazing. Pretty VIP.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about. And sorry, we'll take a quick second here, John. I am going to edit it so that we go around the table like we just went around the table.
Yeah.
And that I didn't backpedal to you.
Okay.
Because I want the story to come a little bit later. I want it to be a little bit more of a surprise. So, I mean, you could talk about this next one up until 3:00 or up until 2:30.
Okay.
Because the next question is, tell me about August 16th. Tell me about the day of. Who were you with? What were you doing? What did you do before the show? We'll start with Matt from Buffalo.
Well, that's actually a great question. I was hoping you'd get to this because it was quite a bit of trepidation. There's a group of 4 of us, as I mentioned, that were going to the show, and of the 4 of us, one of us may or may not have been as welcome into Canada as the other 3, and so we were a little concerned that one of the guys at the border may not be allowed in. So we had somebody on call, and we had somebody on call in Niagara Falls, US. And we told him, if our friend is not allowed in, meet us at the border, and you'll take his ticket and go. And so we had that concern, which wound up not being a concern, thank goodness. And when we got there outside the arena, there were some folks selling tickets, scalping tickets, and our friend who was in waiting as our pinch runner, backup plan, he had asked us, if you can get an extra ticket, let me know, I'm coming up for it, whatever the cost. And we actually, through one of these on the street scalpers, very, very sketchy. He had printouts of PDF of these tickets, and we were a little skeptical, but we also were hoping that it was legitimate. And and the guy was taking cash only, and we pulled some cash together and got our other buddy and his girlfriend a pair of tickets, and that was right before the show, and they hauled ass up to Hamilton somehow, and they got there during the first song, and still don't know how fast they went, but we were amazed. So they made it, and we were able to have some beverages with them after the show and talk about it. And special shout out to one of our buddies, Scott, who joined us, who he had never even met this gentleman, and he's the one who laid out most of the cash for this questionable, dubious ticket that wound up. So it was all around. It worked out for everybody, but yeah, that was a pretty cool story about my one buddy getting the ticket, getting in, no issues, and then these scalp tickets actually working for our other buddy from Lockport.
Awesome.
Cool. Lockport Gambino Ford.
Yeah.
I know it. Gino, what was your August 16th like?
So it was a typical day. It was a work day for me, but I did I own the company, so I gave myself a pass after noon. We left at we were headed up to Hamilton probably around 1:30, 2 o'clock, and we were looking for a place to eat, and we discovered a great restaurant right down the road from the venue, the Charred Rotisserie House. Excellent Portuguese food. It was fantastic, and we ate like kings before the show, and it was kind of surreal though for us, because that's all we kept talking about, the ride up, at dinner, walking to the arena, and the same topic kept coming around over and over again. I can't believe this is the last time we're going to see this band. It's we just couldn't believe it, and it's not as exciting as Matt's story, but I've been back to that restaurant a few times with my wife. That's how good it is.
Want to throw out a plug again? What is it called?
The Charred Rotisserie House.
There you go, and it's right near the TD Arena, or TD Coliseum, they call it now.
Did either of you recall the name of the English pub that was down the block from the arena?
I do not. No.
That's where we went and met up with some other friends for a post show beverage, and it almost had the feeling of a wake afterwards. It was not.
We're going to get into afterwards. We're going to get into afterwards. We haven't even talked about the show yet. John, what kind of day did you have leading up to the show?
It was kind of a normal work day, but not so much, because I had to go downtown, which is not where I usually work, to the stock exchange to let a vendor in to do some work on some equipment that we had there. But the whole day just, woke up and was like so excited about going to the show. Went downtown and got in there through all the security and everything. And then, all hell broke loose. But it was a very exciting day, that's for sure.
All right. Well, we'll get into that. Matt, take me through that moment when you heard the first note of music, and what was the vibe like? Talk to me about the vibe. Talk to me about the people.
I feel like a lot of what we were talking about, and Gino was saying, this is the last time we're going to see them, and sort of this really surreal vibe. I feel like the second they started playing, that kind of went away for a little while. And it was like any other hip show that we had been to, and it was fantastic. And the energy was pretty amazing. And when Gord came out, it was pretty intense and pretty unbelievable. And to be honest, it wasn't until, like I mentioned earlier about Scared, that things really hit us, that this was not like any other show, and that we needed to start to really savor and be particularly attuned to what's happening, because we're never going to see this again.
Oh, man. Yeah, that is heartbreaking. It's a heartbreaking experience, quite frankly.
Absolutely.
And it's in the guise of this thing that we just love, and that we can't get enough of. And now we know we got Gino, take me through, the countdown clock is going on, all that good stuff. And then, the band comes out. What were you thinking?
It was like Matt said, it was probably one of the highest energy shows, and the crowd, the band, and Gord, the perspective that I had that night, you could see it in his face. You could, he was making eye contact with people, and just, he had that little smirk on his face, like, man, he was really enjoying himself too. It was. And then, yes, obviously it was an emotional roller coaster ride. Some songs got me up and some songs got me down, and but I mean, all of it was good. But it was incredible. It was. I mean, like I said, I think I've seen them over 40 times, and this is probably one of the highest energy shows that I was ever at. For sure.
Isn't that wild? Like, based on what we know now, and John, you can chime in on this little conversation as well, because I'm going to put your story there, like after Matt and after Gino. That's where your story will go, because obviously you didn't go into the arena and you can't tell us about the first note.
Yeah. Keep saying that. It always makes me feel better when I hear.
I'm sorry.
I'm kidding. It's 10 years. I'm getting over it. Don't worry. Yes.
Yeah, like, I mean, hold on. What did you guys think, Matt, about them starting small on the stage? And the clock counts down, they walk out, and they're surrounding each other.
I think.
What do you think of that?
Well, I think we were sort of expecting that from what had happened, starting in Vancouver and working their way east. But it was just really neat to see, them. So it's just sort of a metaphor of that, of the four of them, and how close they were, and as a band of brothers, and really making life as easy for Gord as they could. And to what Gino was saying earlier, and I was really interested in your perspective being on the floor, because, we were a little bit back. We were second row. Maybe if it was a hockey game, we would have been around center ice, second row. But it really looked like he was making a point to take it all in. And he was stopping and he was looking at people. He was even making, if I remember correctly, he was sort of hand gesturing photographs of the audience repeatedly.
Yes.
And it was really cool. So was that from your perspective? What was that?
Little memory snippets for himself. Yeah, it was he made eye contact with so many people. I mean, he just stopped and looked, and once they got that person's attention, then he moved on to the next person, and gave him that like little nod, and just kept on going, even while he was singing. He just it was nonstop. It was pretty awesome.
Why does it have to be over? Why does it have to be over? Jesus Christ. Let's take a look at the set list now, fellas. I'm curious what you thought of what you got. We'll start with you, Gino, where we left off. Here's the set list. Give me your thoughts.
I mean, a lot of these songs were never played in most of their other shows. And if they were, it was, there weren't, I mean, how do I put it? I thought it was excellent. They hit everything. And what I will say, though, I wanted to say this is, Gord really, he did struggle a little bit, and they had that monitor on the floor by his feet. I don't know if you guys were aware of that.
Yeah.
Just to help him along a little bit. And he really didn't miss very much. And, he just needed a little push every now and then just to keep him on track a little bit. But I'm deviating from the set list, but it's,
That's all right.
Again, I think that it was a really, really, really well performed set list. One of the best shows I've ever been to. Again, the emotions ran super high, so that was part of it. There was probably one other show that I was at that was equal to it, and in a totally different way as far as enjoyment goes. But I don't know. I never really.
What show was that, Gino?
So it was in Rochester, and it was at an outdoor park, and it was shaped like a bowl. A bowl. That's correct. Yeah. I don't remember what the park. Were you at that, Matt?
I've heard about that one. I was not at that one, but that's a great venue, and it's the something bowl. Is the venue is called the Bowl, and I forgot the.
So the kicker is it rained, and it downpoured, and it thundered, and it lightning, and they probably only stopped for about 10 minutes, and that's when I first heard Gord, calling the crowd, lovers of music, and he goes, "I'm glad you guys stayed, all you lovers of music," and by the end of the show, there's the aisleways where people would walk down, and there was all standing only. It was in the grass, and people were sliding down on their bellies down the hill towards the stage, and one after another, and it was, I don't know, to me, it was one of the most memorable things that you could see grown-ups, adults, just letting themselves go and be like children, and just, it was that was like probably second best to Hamilton.
Wow. I love that Hamilton ranks so high. And the energy, because 10 days earlier, there were people that were not quite 10 days earlier, but 15 days earlier, people were really trepidatious and concerned about, what they were about to see. So,
and from what I heard from other people, as they played, they started out west, and as the more they played, the stronger Gord got. Yeah.
To me, that's how it seemed. But there's people that say differently. So
okay,
I maybe it's a just in doing this show, I've heard a couple people say, he looked frail and things like that, and it's like, I thought he was strong. I thought he was real strong. But what can you do?
A few like you had mentioned, there were a few lapses where you knew that he was singing something not how he would have sang it 5 years prior. But other than that, the energy level that he showed was definitely there. Maybe just his memory wasn't there to match the energy.
Yeah.
And he did continue his and not as wordy as he had been, but he did tell some stories. He told that story about their first gig in Hamilton, and he also told the story about when they first started, and they really didn't feel like they became a rock band, until the women started showing up, because otherwise it was a bunch of guys just running around, and then it was when the women started showing up that they considered themselves a real rock band.
Now, am I misremembering, or did they also talk about Teenage Head and give some credit to them as a Hamilton band that they had been big fans of when they were coming up? And
I don't recall that. I'm just so my friend Greg and he's the guy who sat next to me or stood next to me, and he helped me write my talking points today, and because his memory is a heck of a lot better than mine. And as we spoke and as we wrote, he sent me these notes. Everything's coming back to me now, but I don't remember the shout out to Teenage Head. No.
I wonder if you're conflating it with another show, because I can imagine it sounds totally like the Hip. Sounds totally like Gord, right? Like, maybe he didn't say it at that one, but he said it at a different Hamilton show.
Give it somebody else a plug.
Yeah. Matt, how about you? Initial thoughts or final thoughts rather on the set list?
Yeah, it was fantastic. Obviously, with the Man Machine Poem album, selfishly, we wish we could have heard more of the fantastic catalog that came before it, but we knew that was what this was a tour of. So, other than a few of those, which maybe were bathroom break material,
sacrilege. I think you guys got the best of the 6 songs that they took on the road from that record.
Oh, interesting.
You got the best 4. Yeah, amazing.
Well,
I love
but
it.
It was everything, one after another after another. You really didn't want to stay in your seat. It was a really, really strong list. And the only one thing that irritates me was, and it's probably more about the venue than anything else. I did at one point run out to grab a beer, and I figured I'd miss half a song. And the way that venue was at before, because I know they just renovated it too. But at that point, when we went to the show, the concourses were insanely narrow, and to get from A to B was not easy. And the beer they had in like the basement, and so what I thought was going to be, it was really strange. And what I thought would be missing, a minute of Escape is at Hand. I wound up coming back. It's a fireworks. So I had missed something on while I was in the basement in a beer line. So I was really kicking myself after the fact that
better have been a delicious fucking beer, Buffalo Man.
Exactly. So that's one thing that one negative memory was that, like an idiot, I was so thirsty for a beverage that what I thought was going to be a quick rundown, grab something, get back up, wound up, missing a good 10 minutes. So I'm still frustrated by that one, and probably would, if I had the chance to do it over, wouldn't have done that.
John, I wasn't leaving my post. That's for sure. I wasn't leaving my post.
John, I know this is going to sting a bit, but I wonder if you have anything you want to talk about regarding the set list.
Yeah, I mean, the set list was great. Although I wasn't there, I have seen many, many, many times all the videos of all the songs from that show. And so, that set list to me, it was great. It would have been great to be there. But, that's like 6 or 7 albums represented in that set list. Yeah. And I think that's what they were trying to do, like to pick, to not play the same songs everywhere and to pick from various albums. But, I love that set list. That really, really was good. And all the videos that I've seen on YouTube and it's maybe one that Gino or Matt might have posted at some point if you did that. But everything about that show was amazing. And my kids and daughter-in-law raved about how great of a show it was and how great the set list was. I mean, we talked about it after the fact, but that was a really good set list. But, for me, I would have been happy to just stand there and just say, hey, man, thanks, to Gord and the band for everything that they've given us. They've been there in the highs of my life and the lows of my life. I turn to them to pick me up or to keep me up, But yeah, set list was great. I would have been happy with anything for sure.
But it was a great retrospective, to your point, where they are touching on so many different eras. And really, I think, Gino, you said it. There were some songs that you hadn't heard, and I was thinking the same thing. There were some that, other than when they were on that particular tour, you didn't really hear live very often, if ever. So that was a real treat to be able to hear some of these live for the first time, or the first time in a decade or 15, 20 years.
Yeah, because you guys got World Container as your sort of rarities record.
Yes.
Where does that record, would there have been a rarities record that you would have preferred, or do you like those 4 songs you got, Gino?
Yeah. Oh my God. I don't think there's a song that I don't like. Honestly, I can't. I don't have a top song. They're just all, to me, they all melt together. One good song. One good song.
How about the encore, Matt? You got a tremendous encore.
Yes, without a doubt. I was really, if we're talking the initial before the final, because Gift Shop was a great rendition of Gift Shop, but then to hear Don't Wake Daddy in an encore was unexpected and really, really neat.
Yeah, that would be one that you don't hear all the time.
No,
I don't think I ever heard Fiddler's Green anywhere ever.
So, Gino, were you at? Because the first time and only time I ever heard it beyond this was at were you at one of the Art Park shows?
I was.
Because
I was at one.
There, and they made a point that they hadn't played it in a long time, and I heard it there, and then I heard it here. The only time I've ever heard them live.
Yeah, they didn't pull it out live until 2008.
Yep.
Yeah. So, holy shit, that's a long time. Well, let's talk about the fact that ultimately this was a goodbye. And Matt, articulated the moment that sort of became real for him was, during Scared. Gino, for you, how did you reconcile that? Or was it not till the lights came up that you sort of went into mourn mode, or did you just stay up?
So the crowd, the whole audience, we kind of felt like one big family. It really, we were all like at a memorial service, but it wasn't like a somber memorial service. It was just everybody looking at each other and trying to keep each other up and pick each other up. And again, you could see Gord at the end of the show, looking directly into people's eyes, nodding his head and saying, "It's going to be okay. It's going to be all right." And it was very, very, very memorable for me. One of those things that's never going to escape my mind, hopefully, unless I come demented at some point, which most likely will happen. But it just felt, beside the energy of the show, it did feel like, the last gathering.
They're very communal.
One final gathering.
Yes.
The band is very communal, but I suspect, like you said, Gino, that it went up notches and notches during this show in particular.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Matt, how about you? What did you do after the show? You mentioned going for some pints.
Yeah, we did. And it really, as I mentioned, it almost felt like a wake in a way that, usually after a show, if you're getting together with folks, there's a ton of energy and you're rehashing the highlights of the show and the set list. And it said, what did Gord do that, was of note. But here it was almost a morose atmosphere. We went to this, and I looked it up. I think it's called the King George Pub that was nearby. And the 4 of us went there. Then I had 2 friends that had driven across from Sarnia for the show. And then my buddy that was lucky enough to come up from Lockport last minute when we got him the tickets. So the 8 of us were in there, and it was an odd atmosphere. It was, I think we were all really, really felt lucky and privileged that we were able to be there for the, second to, or almost second to last time they were ever performing. But it didn't have the normal celebratory, feel. And people were not, looking to have, a lot more to drink. And it was very toned down. And the other folks there too, it was more of maybe a reverential type mood, and just very thankful we were able to see what we saw, but also the definite realization that we were never going to see it again, at least live.
Yeah, there's there's definitely that, and that's huge. Of course, it's going to be morose.
Yeah.
Just having that realization that this is it. This was goodbye. But I wanted to go back and say, to Gino's point, Gord was so sick, and here he was, consoling the audiences.
He was,
because he knew the connection, and how beautiful is that? What a man,
and heroic. I would like to use for him.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's like courage, like John said off the top.
Yes.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Well, I have a question for John now, and
Yes,
I'm going to ask Gino and Matt about this question as what did you get up to in the days following? No, sorry. What did you get up to on August 20th, 2016? Where were you? What were you doing? Who were you with?
So on August 20th, I had made a family commitment to go to my brother's cottage in the outskirts of Montreal. And there is perhaps no internet up there. There's very little TV. So how am I going to watch this show? And I can't get out and not going. It's a long story, but I have to go to this cottage. So we have some kind of aerial set up in the backyard. I have my laptop that I'm going to dial in through my old school dial-up modem to record it. I've got my both PVRs at home set up to record it. And I was able to watch it on a television up there, but it was very dicey as to whether I'd be able to watch the show live or have to wait till I got home to watch it. So it was kind of like, don't move that coat hanger outside because I'm going to lose the show.
Oh shit! I thought for sure that was going to end in a bad ending.
No,
John.
That ended up good. Yeah, and then when I got home, I watched it many times since. On recordings and so on. But it was kind of dicey. I even went into the little village that they have there, into the local little bar. And it's a French Canadian little town, but everyone's a Hip fan. And I said, like, hey, are you guys going to be showing the Hip show tonight? And they kind of went, what? And I went, okay, I guess I have to take my chances at the cottage. And so anyway, it did work out okay in the end, but I did get to see it. And I just like, again, just to stand there and like you guys mentioned, just Gord looking out into the crowd and making eye contact with everybody and kind of him saying thanks to us, it's us that owes him the big thanks. That's for sure. So that was my day.
Well, sounds like a pretty good day in the end.
Yeah. In the end. Yes.
Yeah. Matt from Buffalo. What did you get up to?
So it was not nearly as exciting or momentous as being able to go to Hamilton for the show on the 16th. I actually, and I still remember it to this day, every time I see this piece of equipment, I was in my house and I was building, at the time my daughter was 2 years old, and I was building a rather elaborate children's play kitchen during the concert. So I had the TV on, and this thing probably in a normal world would have taken me an hour to build, but obviously I had the concert on, and that took over, the majority of my attention. So it took me about 3 hours to put together this thing while the show was on. So I was able to, keep an eye on the two things, and then I had DVR'd it as well for posterity, and have been able to watch it, over and over again over the years as well.
That's nice.
And then I was probably maybe the same bootleg Gino was talking about, but I got a bootleg of the show as well that I've listened to many times over the years. So it's I've been able to relive it through the professional videos, through this bootleg, and through all the photos and videos that I took. And now today,
Are you doing anything for the 20th this year? The 10th anniversary?
Beyond this, it hadn't occurred to me, but it would be a really good opportunity for my group to get together and at least have a few beers and maybe listen to it or watch it for sure.
Yeah. It's going to be on the 22nd on CBC
Excellent.
again.
Excellent.
Yeah. Gino, how about you? What were you up to August 20th?
So one of our friends invited all the guys over, and I think there was probably a dozen of us, and my friend Greg, the one who was beside me at the Hamilton show, he pointed out to me, he goes, look at Gord. Isn't it weird? Doesn't he look nervous? And he did. He looked nervous. And I mean, how did this guy look nervous? But think about it, think of him and what he's thinking and all the emotions going through his head. This is the last time I'm going to do this. But obviously, as the show went on, all that just washed away, and it was pretty entertaining. I mean, it's nothing like seeing him from 3 rows away, but it was still pretty entertaining.
It was so cool when you think about it that it was commercial free. They weren't trying to commercialize it and make it all gross. I mean, it was just.
I gotta hand it to you Canadians. You guys really know how to pay tribute, because us cannibal Americans, we would all we would do is think about money at that point in time.
And actually, to that point, I'm just glad we are where we are, because in most places in the States, we probably would not have been able to watch it. And right. We are blessed to be able to be within range of and having CBC on our cable and being able to watch it that way.
Yep.
Is that how you did it? It's part of your cable. It's not over the antenna.
Cable.
Yeah, it's in our cable package.
Holy shit, that's cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so we were able to watch it multiple times now, actually, because anytime it's rebroadcast on CBC as well, we can watch it.
Huh, that's great.
And I had some friends at the Pearl Jam show in Chicago simultaneously telling me that Eddie Vedder was commenting and letting everybody know there that it was Gord's last performance and Hip's last performance.
I thought that was so classy and so cool.
Yes, without a doubt.
Yeah. Well, fellas, I have one last question for you all around the table. John, if you could go back 10 years and tell yourself one thing that you would do differently about August 16th, 2016, what would that be?
Oh, buddy, listen, I would have went into my boss's office and I would have said, there is no way we're doing that job today. We're doing it tomorrow. And then I would have made the show. But that was just an unfortunate event. But that's what I would have whispered in my ear. Yeah, call in sick today.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Gino, how about you if you could go back and rewind?
We had to drive home from Hamilton's, maybe about an hour drive. We weren't drinking too heavily, but if I had to do it again, maybe I would have probably stayed the night in Hamilton and just reveled a little bit longer with some of the show members. But I mean, we were wired. It was a good ride home. We were all the four of us were just talking about endlessly about each individual song, and I would, that would be the only thing possibly that I would have changed.
How about you, Matt?
Well, I think I touched on it earlier, but it was this magical day and night, and really the only thing that I regret is that I got no need to get that extra beer and wound up missing a couple of songs, which really irritated me, and I kicked myself for that. But beyond that, it was just a magical day, and we were just privileged that myself and my buddy Gord and Sean and Scott, we were able to enjoy it together.
Love it. John, any final thoughts on the Hamilton show?
Well, I guess for me, like the ending of that show, for me to finish that off, it didn't end like for Matt and Gino, like the show ended, you had that goodbye and then you kind of moved on or whatever. And for me, it was more of a lamenting not being able to go. And it took days and weeks for me to finally say goodbye. It wasn't like a song finished and that's it. It was like a slow fade of a song where it kind of faded out and everything. And lastly, if I can, like I grew up a Hip fan. My kids are Hip fans. And I have a 9-year-old granddaughter who is now a Hip fan. I took her to Chudley's, Chudley's in Milton. And we saw the Practically Hip. And, she knows the words to a number of songs and dancing around. So I'm hopefully creating another generation of Hip fans.
I love this. Fly the flag.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool. Yeah.
Gino, how about you? Final thoughts on the Hamilton show?
So it was probably half hour after they finished. The lights were on. And that's where we were mulling around. My friend Greg had his Barilko sweater on, and lots of people were just, everybody was, picture happy. We were standing around taking pictures, and that's where the set list was like within arm's reach. And I Greg, look at that. So I grab a hold of it, and we've got pictures of each other with it and stuff like that. And again, it was for me, it was, if there was any way to say goodbye, that was the best way for me, I guess.
Yeah, sounds like it. And
nobody wanted to leave
here as well.
Nobody wanted to leave. Nobody wanted to leave the show. It was pretty incredible. Nobody left. Everybody just kind of mulling around and hoping they would come back out one more time or something, or just to get a glimpse of somebody. But it was pretty good.
It was pretty amazing just watching them embrace as a band after as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What are your final thoughts, Matt, on the show?
I think I've pretty much touched on it, but just so privileged, so lucky that by the luck of the draw, I was able to get tickets in a regular presale, and that we were able to be there and pay homage when we and say goodbye, and to be able to do that was pretty amazing, and very lucky to be able to do that. And there's only 18,000 of us, or approximately, that can say that, or however many fit into that arena.
Probably about that, right? Yeah.
Well, then they opened up the backstage. They don't never do that, but they opened up behind the stage.
Yes, where there were no sidelines, right? There was the obstructed view behind the stage. So so there's less than 20,000 people in the world that could say that we did what we did, and really, really amazing memories of having been able to do that. So
pretty special. Well, fellas, that brings us to the end of the show, but I would be remiss not to ask you if you had anything you would like to plug. We'll start with our friend Gino.
I'm just grateful to be able to share my experiences. It's just a band that means so much to me. I listen to them every day. There's a day that doesn't go by that I don't listen to them. And I just hope that Gord's in a great place, and and I wish the rest of the band members their good fortune going through that. I love listening to Rob Baker in the front of the bus.
Oh yeah,
love it. Yeah,
it's a great show. John, anything you would like to plug?
Nothing to plug, but just that age-old saying of, don't be sorry it's gone, be happy it happened, sort of thing. That's how I look at it. All good here.
Well, that's good. Matt?
Well, can't believe that it's already been 10 years, but one small consolation, and I think I mentioned it at the top, is I try and hear the Strictly Hip here in Western New York as often as I can. They do a tremendous job of keeping the memory alive and at least getting that live hip experience. And you can close your eyes, and sometimes you think Gord's there. Jeremy does such a good job of recreating and reimagining things. So love going down when they do their residency, and they'll do albums cover to cover or different concepts every January or February. So that's probably the only thing I'd plug, is the fact that I love that I can continue. It may not be Gord, but it's the closest we can get, and I'm very grateful for that.
You guys are very lucky that you have the Strictly Hip in Buffalo. Very lucky. They are a tremendous band, and they gig all the time. So if you're in Buffalo and you haven't seen them, shame on you.
Exactly.
Shame on you.
Exactly.
No
do they come?
excuse
Do
at
they
all.
come to Canada, Matt?
They do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Weren't they recently playing at the Horseshoe?
They did play the Horseshoe. They played my event last year as well.
Oh,
yeah, they're in
okay.
Brantford. Are they in
The Celebration
Brantford?
of the Hip. Are they where? Sorry?
Brantford?
Brantford.
I thought they were in
Okay.
Brantford, Ontario.
Don't think
Oh,
so.
I saw-
St. Catharines, they play quite often.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to check that out for sure.
Yeah. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you around the table. I want to thank Gino from Buffalo, John from Mississauga, and Buffalo Matt for joining us here today. You for participating in the chat and listening on the podcast network. And that's about all I have to say about that, except pick up your shit. Stick around, guys.
Thanks for listening. This has been a presentation of the Tragically Hip podcast series. For more information and to follow us, visit home.tthpods.com. If you'd like to reach JD, send an email to jd@tthpods.com.